to say good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock.
Is it loud enough?
Yes.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake Heights, Illinois.
Listen to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues on every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is a leading trial attorney, bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to the show. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. On every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. on WRLR 98.3, the voice of Lake County. Good morning for some of those with a hangover.
Good morning.
Good afternoon for those that are a little more religious and going to church.
This is true.
And then some that are just more spiritual.
There we go.
Than others. So I think I reached all the gamut on that. And
yeah, and don't forget the early morning athletes who are swimmers like myself.
I like to call them the crazies.
Well, yes. But we're the only ones in town that do it, and we're healthier than most, or at least trying to be. So, early morning swimmers, early morning bikers, runners, swimmers, everything. Gotta do it, yeah.
You are full of energy this morning. I've had coffee to compensate.
Okay.
And some other illegal, no, I'm just kidding.
No, not anymore.
Introduce who you are and...
I'm Peggy Busceni, and I am Dave Mierswa's co-host on the David Mierswa Show.
Peggy, welcome back to my show, of course. This is attorney Dave Mierswa. I've been an attorney for almost 20 years now.
Oh my God, you look so young. I just can't believe it.
Wow, yeah, it's all the chemicals they put on, preserve all that
Looks
hair.
Good, kid. Looks good.
You're looking good yourself, Peggy.
Well,
so
thank you.
you're doing good this morning?
Yes, real well. Very well.
Good,
Yes,
good.
Yeah.
So I got up yesterday at, no, not at 7. I got up yesterday at 10 to 6.
Ooh.
And there's a show called Cast and Blast.
Yeah.
It's on every Saturday at
That sounds
7
so
a.m.
nice.
with Dave Jakes and his son Joshua Jakes.
Yes.
Who I've nicknamed DJ Jake Jakes. Because I can never remember his first name.
Well, sure.
And he gets a little annoyed when I call him that. So, of course,
Well.
now I'm not going to stop.
Well, sure.
The first thing you learn in lawyering tactics, never give away something that annoys you.
Of course. Oh my God, that's
But-
the easiest thing.
So I got up early yesterday and went on a show, and I tell you, 7 a.m. on a Saturday.
Oh
and
man, that's woo. That's
It
a lot.
was pretty early, but we had a good show. So big shout out to Dave, Holly, his wife, who was on the show, who's very sweet, by the way, and compensates for Mr. Jakes. So hopefully he's listening, or he'll get word.
Oh, he may. Yeah.
And then his son Joshua, and but Dave was the one who introduced me to everyone around WRLR,
Oh, okay.
and I'm sure they regret it now.
I'm sure.
You let me in the door for dinner, and I
Now
never
it's
leave.
over. Yeah.
So-
Well, nothing wrong with that.
So let's knock our PSAs out of the way here, so it
Okay.
satisfies the upper management here at WRLR.
Why,
Make
yes.
them happy.
Yeah, we don't want to disappoint. So, our
Oh, we're
first-
gonna disappoint
Well,
Hillary voters today,
I know.
but we'll get into that in a second.
I know, we'll be doing it. No, the Women's Outstanding Networking Group, that's the WON, W-O-N. They're having a networking lunch on Tuesday, October 11th from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's at the Lehman Mansion, 485 North Milwaukee Avenue, Lake Villa, Illinois, 60046. There are, the directions are saying just 10 minutes south of the Wisconsin border on Route 83. The check-in begins at 11:30 in the morning. Lunch will be served at noon, and members must register their own chamber for reservation. So again, that's the Women's Outstanding Networking Group, Tuesday, October 11th from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's at the Lehman Mansion in Lake Villa. So also, Sammy's Restaurant, sandwich shop, in Round Lake Beach is hiring. So they're looking for full and part-time help for all positions. applicants must apply in person during business hours. So their business hours are Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., Friday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday, 11 in the morning till 9:30 p.m. And when you do that, talk to Alex. And the Sammy's at 250 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. Phone number 847-546-4674. Ask for Alex if you need information by phone. But do go in and apply in person. Talk to Alex and they'll get you all set up. So those are our PSAs for today.
Let's take those and then we'll just throw them on the floor here. I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
yeah.
All right, we actually threw it on the table here. We're not that crude. Yes, we are.
Well, sometimes we are.
You tuned in, and I gotta still say that I love it that they put me on right after 3 hours
religion.
of church.
You know,
And
you've heard the music that's on before us, right?
yeah, I like it
It's
actually.
beautiful.
Some of the gospel
Oh my God.
stuff is pretty cool.
Yes, yes.
And so let me just give a shout out here for a couple of minutes here. I'm kind of in a reflective mode
Wow.
for 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
I segment everything here.
Yeah.
So, the show's been on the air for over a year, since June
yes.
of 2015. And I gotta say, you coming on board
Yeah.
is a brush. See,
A brush with death.
I'm already tripping over my words. A breath
Oh, okay.
of fresh air.
Oh.
So I got that out.
Yeah.
We'll see how the rest of the day goes here.
Yeah.
But, I got to say, Peggy, I really enjoyed your show last week
Oh, great.
in the tribute to your mom.
Yes.
And I had several comments on it
How wonderful.
by some people, and so that was very heartfelt.
Oh, great.
And just so everyone knows, that will be posted, the audio version will be posted on my website, Law 540. So all my previous shows are on Law 540. But I thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you, because it really helps me to talk about it and just, know that we're not the only ones in that position.
Yeah.
And me and my brothers, any help that we got during that time, it was amazing. And like I said, to talk about it and just walk through it, it made things easier.
That's great, Peggy. And I got to say, I really appreciate, and I know the listeners on WRLR, both online and listening to the actual broadcast today, which is live. Of
I
course.
know, it is live. I got
We're
friends
always
listening to
live.
it. I know.
We are always alive here and on fire. At
Yes.
least myself, troublemaker Peggy.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get through Sunday and the work week, and they get so busy, and I think they forget about loved ones.
Yes.
So a reflection for that is always good. And I think one of the things that you fear is that you're going to forget about them.
Yes.
And I've had family members that have passed away, and I've had some pretty horrific circumstances, which
Sure.
I haven't really revealed to the listeners, and I'm not about to. But I've been through a lot of stuff,
Really?
with my family,
Huh?
and I did reveal that over the summer I've been dealing with my mom falling and going
Sure.
into assisted living. So
Yes. It's
that's
hard.
never easy to do, and then going through hospice.
Yes.
And obviously you got a lot of love. So
We did. We
so-
really were so we received so much. It was so wonderful.
great.
And my brother did a beautiful homily for my mother
Oh,
in
it's-
church. It was people were just weeping by the end, and it was gorgeous. I knew that he was going to say something, but I didn't think it was going to be that in depth. But it was amazing. And just
Anytime you
wonderful.
need to talk on air or off the air, I'm always available.
Yeah, I
And-
know you're here.
I just appreciate what you've been through, and it's never easy losing a parent. I lost my dad about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's,
he wasn't that big of an influence on my life, but nonetheless, it's like a final
oh, yeah.
chapter.
Oh,
But Peggy, you never forget.
oh, no.
And so that's really cool. So I appreciate you really sharing that. I think that tells the authenticity of yourself. and how
yeah.
sensitive you are.
Oh.
You don't think you are?
No, I try to let people know that, there's a big old shield here and everything,
Yeah.
but, yes, I'm very sensitive and I just never show it, cause good God, if people see me cry, oh my God, I'm a girl. Yeah, but.
So I hear you on
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
And,
so, I
so
know.
that's the moment of reflection this morning. So now we're gonna flip that switch off.
And go to our
Go to
dazzling
attack
selves.
mode.
Yeah, I know.
I am just so ready for anything today. I tell you.
I know, it's been kind of a crazy day, but yeah.
I had a crazy week.
Uh-huh.
I had a really crazy week this last week, and I was dealing with like the biggest, highest Trump wall of stupidity.
Yeah,
I'm not calling Trump stupid. I'm
No.
just saying that, however high he wants to build that wall,
yeah,
the stupidity factor built it.
yeah,
It was just unbelievable. One thing after another this week.
yeah, kind of faux
And-
pas or slips or something. I'm like, come on, man.
I was in
settle down.
court. I was in court a lot this week, and then I had pleadings on this one case, and the judge allowed it. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? No, I'm not kidding. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And I
yeah.
did that like 5 times.
Yeah.
And finally, the judge kind of motioned me to walk away from the podium.
Oh, okay.
And so I spent this weekend yesterday working on these pleadings that are so screwed up,
Oh,
and I have to basically replead them
sure.
in affirmative defenses.
Oh.
And these are the things that you never really taught you in law school.
You kind of find your way through
And-
those.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so it was a lot of hours, and I had over 600 pages.
Ah.
600 pages of bank statements and notes and all this junk to go through. And I got other terminology, but
I'm
you know,
sure.
that
I'm sure.
I said yesterday, like, darn it, and
Yeah, at least.
darn it. That's how it began, then it ended with some other colorful
choice
phrases.
words, yes.
And then I finally just put everything up. I got about 90% through it yesterday, so.
That's good. I'm
but-
sure it's a family case.
Family law. How did you guess?
Been down that road.
Family law. I'll take a couple minutes here and digress, and
Yes.
then we'll get into Trump versus Hillary.
Yes.
You're wondering, what topic are we going to be talking about today? We're gonna talk about the issues
Yes.
between Trump and Hillary, which they should have done at the debate
Yeah, right.
instead of slamming each other.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
Yeah, but it was entertaining
Yeah.
somewhat. But
For a few
after
minutes,
10 minutes of that, I
yeah.
want to hear the issues, which
Right.
we'll get to. But so I spent all the time on that. I got through it, and then the rest of the week, I had lawyers showing up late for court, and then I was in family court again. All week was family court law.
That's
So I was
bad.
downtown twice
Mm.
in family law, and I had this attorney that he always says the same thing. So I'm like, Your Honor, that's his mantra. That's all he knows how to say. And I go, I like to call that inaccurate statements. And I got another word I'm gonna put in a motion pretty soon.
Okay.
And so the judge, I got a ruling. I had a guy held in contempt this week.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's good.
Yeah.
So that was like a brighter moment.
It sounds wonderful.
And I've been trying for almost a year to get these documents. And
Uh-huh.
these people, I don't have to comply with the orders. And
Sure.
I mean, you meet me for 5 minutes.
Right.
Am I the type of personality that isn't going to state what's on my mind and, give me what I want, or I'm going to make your life a living beep, beep, beep,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
so
true.
now I got the guy held in contempt, and he's going to end up paying my attorney's fees.
Well. Okay.
Over, it took 1 year to get these documents. You know how many hours that is?
That's huge.
20,
That's-
30, 40, and he's going to end up paying them.
Yeah.
And so,
And, watch out though, he may declare bankruptcy and then say, oh, I can't pay it.
well, he's got assets.
Ah,
I
okay.
know all his assets.
Attaboy,
So he's got a house paid off too. So.
Excellent. Oh,
But one of the things is it drives me crazy is they got to make everything a fight.
well, of course.
Everything is a fight.
Yeah.
And I always try to go into a case. I always try to solve my client's issues,
Right.
and the least time, least expensive.
Yeah.
And it's the parties
Yeah.
that want to fight, and then it's these other attorneys that want to prolong this stuff for
Yeah,
to
that's
make a
unfortunate.
buck.
Yeah, well, that's
Because they're
just
being
it.
paid hourly.
Yeah,
So they see a client with a lot of assets, so they want to ring the cash register.
right, and just draw it out as
And-
long as they can.
Yeah, and so it was a whole week of this,
Oh.
just nonsense.
That's so
And
tough week.
so this next week, it's going to be a little bit more of the same, but at least I'm going to knock out some of these pleadings and some of this ridiculous stuff, and then I can move on to trying to settle some more cases. But anyway, that was my week last week. So hey,
Tough
let's get
week.
into our show.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Trump versus Hillary.
yes.
And I was going to waste some time playing the debate
Mm-hmm.
and all that, and I really think a lot of it, about 95% of it, was a waste of time.
It was.
And
Yes.
so today I really want to drill down and I want to talk about their differences.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of millennium children out there
Yes.
that have not heard about the 30 years of Hillary, which she is so hard trying to cover up.
Right.
And I'll be straight and honest and forward with all my listeners. I'm a Trump supporter. What am I wearing today?
I see a T-shirt that says Trump, Make America Great Again, 16.
Yeah,
So yes.
So I admit my biased tendencies, and I don't consider myself to be a strict Republican anymore. I used to be,
No, you
up
can't
until
be.
about 7, 8, 9 years ago,
Yeah.
and then I started,
Kind of
realize-
crossing the aisle.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
take it issue by issue. Like I'm
Right.
a big supporter of some of the stuff on the left,
Yes. Yeah.
but also on the right. I take it issue by issue.
Yes.
So, Peggy, in this election, and based on who you are and what you understand and your panache, I love that word,
Me too.
panache.
I like that.
I don't know, I heard that somewhere a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it's cool.
So these phrases stick in my mind for a while till the next one.
That's okay. I kind of like it.
So, and you have a lot of character,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of colorful character like that shirt.
Well, yes, sir. Wearing my
She-
beach shirt.
She's wearing this really blindfold, like orange, pink, yellow Hawaiian t-shirt.
Yes.
Whew.
Trying to keep summer alive.
So yeah, and Bish, you don't have to fix the lights in the studio. The shirt helps. So
You don't have to fix it just yet.
it's been an ongoing.
Battle.
It's been an ongoing battle here at WRLR. We're letting out the
The
WRLR dirt. We just want light. We have a right to light, and
Yeah.
it won't settle until we get light.
Yeah, there we go.
More of it. But it is too darn funny.
Yeah, I know.
So tell me your take. What are you looking for in the candidates? What affects you in your life? And tell me your personal opinions.
You know,
What
the
do you think?
thing is, these candidates, they're really not touching on any topics that is going to forward the civilization as we know it, and not that they can, because it is such a huge job to be president of the United States. My dad always used to say there should be 3 presidents, one for foreign policy, one for local issues, and then one for national, not national, just United States things, because
Foreign policy.
Foreign policy should be its own little thing. And just, have stuff like that, because this is just way too large of a job for just one person. Now, we know that they really don't do the job. They have advisors in each part of their presidency, so they get advised, and then they are the person that the country turns to for answers, if you want to call them answers, just some solutions or something. But, as a woman, I'd say, oh, this would be wonderful if a woman could be president, but I'm not sure that that's the right answer at this time.
So
there's-
you're for a woman president.
Yes, but not particularly fond of Hillary Clinton, just because she was underhanded in where she got to, as far as her high office, and I just feel like you can be a little more straightforward if you know, if you want to succeed in business, you know, you don't have to be underhanded. And some of the things I've been reading about Mrs. Clinton and her trek over the last 30 years seems very underhanded to me, and very, you know, hard to digest that she did some of these things. And I'm sure some of these are very cleansed excerpts of what she may have or may not have done, you know. And, you know, you got people's life in your hands, and, you know, as much, you don't want anybody losing a life over any of your decisions, you know. So, you know, it just seems to me that she could have been a little more straightforward in her approach to the highest level. So, you know, but like I said, a woman for president, I think it'd be great. You know, I mean, we already had the person of color, now a woman, and after that, I don't know what we're gonna do. But, you know, and you know, I like Trump. He's very in your face, and he's gonna call you out and make you produce, you know, whatever he's looking for. And if you don't, okay, so you get a little tongue lashing. But, you know, it keeps you on track, and it keeps you on the beat.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of points. You know, one point is Hillary, in her foundation, in her political machine, has taken a lot of money from foreign governments,
Yes,
and some from the Middle East.
yes,
They do not promote women's rights whatsoever
at all.
and or they put on trial, you know, LGBT and
Yeah.
members of the gay community.
Yeah,
And in fact, one of the countries executed someone about a month ago.
I saw that.
And Hillary doesn't say anything about this. So, you know, you see all these ads, she's for women's rights and all that. That's one of my biggest critiques with her. You know, and one of the other things that I go around and I talk to strangers, and I bring up
I do too.
what do you think about the election and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And a lot of the things that they talk about is the lack of transparency and all the lies.
correct.
All
Yes.
the lies and corruption.
Yeah,
And
cover-ups.
Trump has an outsider, and this is one of the big differences. He's an outsider,
Yeah,
and he's not trying to protect all of the political insiders, which they're all doing.
well, right.
And you know, Hillary fell down on the polls. Well, of course, President Obama came out,
Yeah.
and instead of again providing leadership for our country,
Yeah.
which has been lacking for 7.5 years. Some people try to argue me wrong,
Well, right.
but
No,
he comes out and starts to campaign for her,
right.
which, you know, in the last days of your presidency and your legacy, you'd think you would want to clean up some of the mess.
Well, right.
Which I don't want to get off on a tangent
Well,
about
right, yeah.
his lack of leadership and his lackluster presidency and
Yes.
his legacy going down as probably one of the worst presidencies. Some people are going to say he was a champion for the African Americans and the blacks, and I don't
think so.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
No,
With all of the race dividing
yes.
that was coming out of the White House.
Right, he was very divisive.
And you know, this is a really sensitive topic
Yes,
that a lot of people are afraid to talk about.
yeah,
And I think Hillary was part of the racial divide. She's trying to not talk about that,
right.
but she was part of it. And instead of bringing people together, and you know, and I'm not downplaying any of the shootings or anything like that.
Oh, no.
And people being shot. And I would agree, maybe some of the shootings, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 were racially motivated as
Sure.
its only sole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I see that there are, as President of the United States and also the incoming President of the United States, including Trump,
Yeah,
that language is very, very important. And instead of bringing people together, you know, it's just a lot of division.
oh, totally.
And then when I see the president going out and stating inaccurate facts as to what happened,
Right,
and then inflaming the situation,
yes,
that in itself, you don't represent one part of the country. You represent all
thing. Yes.
Americans.
Yes.
And and another thing and this is going to be a third term. Basically, if you love
Don't forget
Obama,
Hillary
Hillary's going to be a
Oh,
third
yeah.
term, and you're going to see the continued. In fact, if you listen to Hillary, some of her rhetoric, right after one of the shootings, and again, she did exactly what Obama's done for the last 7.5 years, is he puts into place his agenda,
Right.
doesn't care about the facts, and he promotes whatever he wants to at the cost of inflaming Americans. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be upset and stuff like that.
Right.
But he complains. Everyone's all these attack ads on Trump and all this, and it just Hillary did the same thing that Obama did.
Of course.
And then she tries to come across as the Democratic Party in whole, saying that they're the best for African Americans and the minorities. And I ask you this, and look at all of our inner cities.
Yeah.
Take a look at their finances. Take a look at the gains over the last 50 to 100 years with the African Americans and the other minorities. Take a look at that. So we have 50 years of Democratic control
Yeah.
in Chicago, Detroit, LA, New York, San Francisco. It goes on. And take a look at the situation. High unemployment, a lot of debt.
Dissatisfaction, complete dissatisfaction.
Yep, and in fact, it's being flamed. And this is just my belief, is that they're blaming the police
Right.
because
yeah.
if you take a look at the true facts of who's in charge,
Yeah.
let's take Chicago,
Yeah.
for instance. Who's in charge? The Democrats are in charge.
Right.
So and it's the oldest trick in the world, diversion.
Oh,
Blame the police for everything. And I'm not saying there aren't wrongful shootings
Right.
and bad shootings, but if you take that away, who's left to blame? The Democrats for mismanagement of our cities
Yes.
and our federal government. And here's another thing, that the Trump finally did say this during the debate. He talked about the $19.5 trillion that were in debt.
Oh, yeah.
He did mention that.
Yeah.
Hillary
She
ran
didn't
from
say the
that
word. Yeah.
faster than she could when she passed out before that minivan.
Or maybe she was on fire. I don't know. But it's funny you say that, because this morning I was listening to a radio station. Governor Rauner was on, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, this cronyism, and we need term limits. He said Chicago is a great city, but the infrastructure is so corroded and so corrupt that we have to start again. Otherwise, if we get if we get Hillary in there, it's going to just be the same thing. And he didn't really say directly that Michael Madigan is the problem, but indirectly he said it. He's like,
He said it
45
before.
years. Yeah.
Governor Rauner has said it before,
Uh-huh.
and Governor Rauner is trying to have a soft touch right now because there's a lot of negotiations going on.
There are.
But yeah, Madigan is basically runs Illinois
Sure.
and has ran Illinois
For 45 years.
for 45 years.
That's great and everything, but does the man think he's ever, one, gonna die, two, leave office, three, leave the state?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of
He killed.
responsibility.
There was a bill,
Yeah.
and they were trying to introduce a bill,
Yeah.
and he killed the bill
Oh.
for term limits.
Oh, man, well,
And
Okay,
one of the
that
things
explains a lot.
he's and I believe this to be true, that he's a lawyer,
mm-hmm.
and he helps raise property taxes, and then his law firm actually does tax appeals for properties.
Wow.
Yeah, how you like
Okay.
that? So he raises your taxes and makes money off it.
And that's what.
I heard that on another radio show.
And Rauner was saying that, he's like, we have the highest property taxes in the country.
Yeah.
And they're not going any lower,
Yeah.
and it's just miserable to live here. People are just fleeing out of here like they're on fire.
Yeah, and where does President Obama come? From Illinois, where he got his junior training
Yeah,
on his JV training,
yeah.
as he talked about ISIS. And
Yeah.
and basically it's tax and spend, and when you run out, blame someone else, increase more taxes,
Right.
and keep spending.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about moving out of Illinois
Oh, I have too.
And, you know, going back to Wisconsin where I'm from, but you know what? I stayed here.
Well, yeah,
And I'm gonna fight.
yeah,
I got
Very nice.
so much fight in me.
yeah, yeah.
And, you know, we're gonna take these people on one show at a time.
That's perfect.
And I tell you, I'm so full of energy today.
I'm telling you,
And,
yes, I like it.
And see it in my face. So we actually talked for 30 minutes.
Wow.
The time just flies here.
No
So
kidding.
we're going to cut the break so you can hear some great sponsors here at WRLR that are less controversial than this show. And if you're a Hillary fan, you may want to stay tuned because you're going to hear some more truth.
Yes. I
And
like
we're
it.
also going to talk Trump too. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. on WRLR 98.3, the voice of Lake County.
Welcome back to the Dave Mierswa Show. I hope
We're
everyone had a good break.
Yeah.
I had to get a little coffee. And
A little water.
believe it or not, I just drink decaf.
That's excellent.
I don't need the energy.
Oh, no.
And on fire today. All right, we're gonna dive right back into the deep end of the pool here, and we're gonna go over differences between Hillary and Trump. And one of the biggest things that that you just mentioned
Yes.
was the control over your decisions and interference with government. So tell me your
You
thoughts
know,
on
I was going to, while we were talking about the gun issues and stuff, about the president, anyone who's in the presidential office, I do not believe has any business interfering with the gun issues, because to me, that's a local thing, and if a president is supposed to be worried about gun issues, they're overlooking things on a national level. The guns pertain to individuals, and the laws should trickle down. I hate to use trickle down, but the laws should be made at the top, of course, and then let them go down to the municipalities and localities that are, you know, dealing with all this stuff. But President Obama has, as far as I'm concerned, has no business worrying about gun control, saying he's going to disarm people, or that you know, people should be more regulated in purchasing weapons, or just you know, whatever say we have about getting guns. He has no business in there, and so I'm worried that if Mrs. Clinton gets voted into office, this will just continue where, you know, they're going to continue to suggest, if not mandate, that different rules apply to people who want to get firearms.
Sure.
You know, it just totally limits anyone's individual rights to get a gun and arm themselves and protect themselves and their families.
You brought in a book,
Uh-huh.
and you wanted to read an excerpt from that book. So
Yeah.
explain what the book was, you know, who the author is and what it's about, and then give the quote.
I was reading The Boys in the Boat. It is by Daniel James Brown, and this was one of the books, summer reads at Lake Villa Library this year. And I'm at a point now where I come up with a description of Hitler in Germany. This was back in 1942 or 43. This book is about a rowing team that assembled during World War II. Now, I haven't gotten much, this actually is on page 10, but this man who wrote this book is saying that he was talking about President Roosevelt and how he was elected into office, but they couldn't figure out exactly what his tactics were. So it says, as Roosevelt began putting programs into place over the summer he was elected, a rising chorus of hostile voices had begun to call him a radical, a socialist, even a Bolshevik, which they didn't want to go down the Russian path, like it says here. It was unnerving to hear, and as bad as things were, few Americans wanted to go down the Russian path. So the second paragraph, there was a new man in Germany, also at the same time. brought into power in January by the National Socialist German Workers' Party, a group with a reputation for thuggish behavior. Now, it was even harder to know what that meant, and but Adolf Hitler was hell-bent on rearming his country despite the Treaty of Versailles. And while most Americans were distinctly uninterested in European affairs, the British were increasingly worked up about all of it. And one had to wonder whether the horrors of the Great War were about to be replayed. So, here in this book, and I think this is just happenstance, but it just describes Hitler's tactics. And now, recently, I've heard people say that Trump is much like him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I reading that, I'm like, I don't think so. But again, Hitler in this book was trying to remake Germany and make it great again and stuff like that. And now they're, saying the same about Trump, which, I don't know if it's...
Let's take a look at, the issue of Second Amendment.
Uh-huh.
So Hitler took away all of Germany's rights of a private citizen to bear arms.
Yes.
Unless you could get a special permit.
Right.
And anyone who knows me, I've been involved with Second Amendment for the last 10 years, heavily. Yeah. And I promote that. And Hillary, who is going to be a third term of Obama actually talked about Australian type gun confiscation.
I saw that.
And and he tries to hint around this, and so that's a big difference. Trump is a huge Second Amendment supporter,
right?
Which, if you're living, wherever you're at,
yeah.
you have an inherent right to self-defense.
Yes.
And that includes firearms, whatever you need. The police will be 20 minutes away, or 2 minutes. Even 2 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time
for self-defense.
Sure.
So Hillary is definitely against the Second Amendment.
Yes.
No doubt. She hasn't even touched upon the issue. As far as rebuilding the military, I think that Hillary will let it slide further.
She has no intention.
But I think you're right. There's a balancing test. How much do you need in the military? How much do you want to spend? Guns versus butter. I don't know if you ever took economics, but it's like a 500 or 1,000-year-old argument.
Yes.
But let's take a look at the Supreme Court justices. Mm-hmm. If she gets elected, who's going to be put into the Supreme Court? The justices will probably be way left of center.
Oh, yes.
And it will only take one more justice to reverse a lot of the gains that we made in the Second Amendment and other decisions that have been made. Yeah. So that's huge. So it's just not the next 4 years. And there are a lot of anti-Trumpers that are not pro-Hillary. Right. But I say to you that if you vote for the Libertarian candidate, who doesn't even know where Aleppo is, and then they ask them, can you name one foreign...
capital?
One foreign... president of a foreign country.
Right, yeah, okay.
He's like struggling, then and then he's like Merkel. I'm like, oh God, how bad can it get?
Sometimes I think that stuff is so contrived. They do that
purposely.
Oh
yeah, the gotcha moments.
Right.
And that last debate was completely one-sided and tried all these gotcha moments against Trump.
Right. Right.
But that's okay. He's a big boy.
Yes.
He's an adult, and he obviously loves to get up at 3 a.m. and tweet.
Exactly.
And
oh my God, yeah.
But some of the other differences is that Trump wants to slow down refugees coming in from war-torn areas, and trying to adjust the vetting system, which the government just allowed 800 people 2 weeks ago. They just allowed 800 people with criminal backgrounds. They gave them citizenship.
Oh my God!
So it's the blind leading the blind.
Yes.
And in this case, Hillary's going to be a third term of this. And so if you're on,
afford it.
If you're a no Trumper, think again. Look at the alternative. And she was architect of the foreign policy that took place in Libya.
Oh, yes.
And there were stand down orders, and I guess, and this is just what I read, that they were more worried about what uniforms or the American flag before they would send in a team.
Right. It was
You know, and this is the kind of PC. Here's another thing that gets me, Peggy.
yes.
Is that, do you want another third term of this PC?
We can't afford to do
Bleep.
it. No.
I guess I'll say
Yeah.
PC.
Garbage.
Garbage.
Yes,
The other
yes.
word that I want to say is bleeped out. Bleep.
Yeah.
bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, and I'm tired of it.
Well,
I'm
we
tired
can't.
of this. I'm tired, and our president went around apologizing
I heard about
for America
Oh.
year after year
Yeah.
after year, and then he
Yeah.
bowed to all these other foreign dignitaries, which you don't do,
that. No.
and he did it again.
I know. See,
Not too
from what
long
I
ago.
understand, he was not thought of that highly by all of these people in these foreign places. You
Yeah.
know? And so, maybe he thought, well, you know, maybe I'm less of a person. I don't know what. But when I heard he was bowing and then apologizing for World War II.
Yeah,
No.
he apologized about America, like everything.
Yeah.
America,
Yeah.
and it's just been, and I can't wait for the day, and it's scary because I know Hillary's going to be worse than him.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
just in here's another thing to think about. You got 8 years now. We'll say 8 years because
8.
he's got
Yeah.
a few months left.
Oh.
TG.
Yeah.
TG. That stands for thank God,
God.
for those of you that don't get that. And it's going to be, and you're thinking, could there be anyone worse than President Obama? Yes. Hillary.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and what she stands for. And I have a lot of friends that are Hillary supporters. I'm like, look me in the eyes and say you're going to vote for the most corrupt person there is. And you know what they do?
Yeah.
They deflect, and then they go to one or two little Trump mantras
Right.
that were commercialized in some anti-Trump thing. And I go, okay, tell me on her record. Tell me on her record. She's been in government for over 40 years.
Where's the credibility?
Where's the gold?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the gold?
Yeah.
I've been a lawyer for 20 years. I produce, I make money when my clients make money, and I take stuff on contingency,
Right.
and I make some pretty darn good money
Yeah.
because I produce.
Well, you work hard, you do your job,
And-
and you get results.
So where's she at?
I
30
don't
years.
know.
And then, during this last debate, she was more into these stupid little sayings
Right.
and attacking Trump than talking on her record because she can't talk on her record.
Right. And like I was saying earlier, I feel like it was an old, no offense, but an old washwoman's fight over the back fence.
You said it, I did.
I know.
You're
I
a
said
woman.
it. I know. Hey, listen.
I'm off that hot seat.
Oh God, and it's ugly. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like no issue was discussed. It was well, you wore a tie, or you wore or you had a tattoo and I didn't, or something
Yeah,
stupid.
it was like a playground.
Right, a playground battle.
She said, he said, and
Right. I mean, it's just crazy.
so let's talk about some of the other things that Trump wants to develop more American energy
yes.
and be
so
less dependent on
dependent
foreign
others.
oil.
Right.
Okay, which candidate took the most foreign money from foreign governments?
Mrs. Clinton. Hello.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
yeah,
she hasn't bashed the Middle East countries at all.
not at all.
Under terrorism,
No.
under Sharia law, or any of that. Okay, another candidate. Before you can attack the enemy, and before you can attack the enemy's ideology, you have to define who the enemy is.
True.
And Hillary said it once: radical Islamic terrorism.
She never says that though. She
Never says it.
that.
And
No.
and again, Trump says that.
Yeah.
And there's just so many other differences. And then another corrupt thing is the Iran deal. The next biggest thing, you can mark this on your calendar,
Yeah.
October 2nd at 12:48 p.m.
Yes.
I'm gonna make another prediction.
Yeah.
The next war is going to be with Iran.
Oh, of course.
The
Yes.
next war, heated up, and I say it will be in less than 2 years,
Sure.
2 or 3 years, and we're going to have to go back and clean up what should have been cleaned up over the last 8 years under Obama.
Right.
So not only does he not only contain Iran, he gives them over $1.5 billion cash illegally.
Yes.
And Hillary was an architect in this, in this as well, in all the deceptions.
Yes.
So the next war is going to be pivoted on Iran.
Yeah. Well, we know, I mean, I think the Middle East, it's going to be our downfall. We're going to be there a long time. And why, I don't know, because, you know, sometimes I'm thinking we're butting into the wrong business over
Right.
there in the Middle East. We just,
If you, Peggy, if you take out the oil,
yeah.
why else are we going to be there?
Yeah.
Are you going to fly 20 hours to go to Dubai to play golf?
No, never. You know, it's just the idea, you know, they make it look like they're trying to help women over there who are subservient to men. You know, they start with that. Oh, and by the way, we are talking about oil too. Well, you just can't, you know, it's very shrouded. You know, they want to say, oh, we're helping the women, and those are thousands of years of things that they've been doing, and now we, as Americans, only 210 years old, trying to tell them how to do their laws? I don't think so.
Right.
Get out of there, you know, and like I said, they mask it as helping women and stuff, but it's all energy-based, which,
Yeah.
you
We
know,
wouldn't be there but for the energy.
exactly.
And so here's another huge thing is between the two candidates, who's going to be able to make and produce more jobs?
And Trump, I think, could do it. He knows how to do it. He's been in
Look-
business
look-
forever.
And look, I'm a huge Trump. I'm going to get my
Yes.
Trump in for the camera here. Let me move the microphone.
There
Okay.
you go.
Got
Yeah.
that in for the video.
Yes.
Who has produced more jobs than the other candidate? Just based on, okay, Hillary, who's been in government for 40 years,
Yeah.
who can enact policy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's created job one.
No, I don't think so either. In fact, wasn't she involved with NAFTA? I think her husband
Yeah.
passed all that. So
Yep.
all of our jobs went to foreign countries.
Right.
So yeah.
Take
she
a look
can-
at, I've
yeah.
traveled quite a bit in the last 7-8 years. I've traveled all throughout the United States, and everyone is just hard hit.
Oh, yes.
I've been through Ohio,
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania,
Yes.
Virginia, and the list goes on and on and
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And we got about 4 or 5 minutes left in the show, so that's another huge difference.
Oh, huge.
Who do you think is going to manage the government for jobs and jobs and jobs? And here's another one you brought up before I want to bring up again. Which candidate is for bigger government and more intrusion in your life, and which other candidate is for smaller government and allowing you to make more decisions in your life, in your personal life, without government interference?
Well, right. Yeah. I mean,
Of
You know,
course, Trump
is
actually
less government.
Trump is for a bigger government than like Ted Cruz. My first candidate was Ted Cruz.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, and I wasn't too happy about Trump, but I look at Hillary
Oh,
and what she stands for. More bigger government, more government or interference. And
Yeah.
the world's on fire, and they're worried about whether a bathroom should be labeled a certain way or not. This
Exactly.
is the kind of stuff that is only going to continue
Yeah.
with 4 years of Hillary.
Diversion.
Now, one thing that a lot of the listeners are worried about is what if she does get in and if she's elected?
Oh.
November 8th, we're going to be doing a live show here,
Oh, cool.
and obviously you'll be
Dress in
invited.
red.
I'll be here as well.
Yeah.
But if she does get in, you're looking at more gridlock
Oh.
within Congress. But the system is working.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And you're going to see even more stronger challenges to her. And here's another thing is, do you want Hillary that will usurp the Constitution even more than what President Obama has done.
Well, right, and we have to kind of take that into consideration.
So, you know, the United States will still be here and we'll get up every day and go to work, but you're
Right.
going to see even more intense fighting.
Oh,
because-
secession. I suspect we're gonna get 2 or 3 secessions, well, if that happens.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, you're gonna see just the lawsuits and who knows where it's gonna be and where it will end up, but I do think it is definitely it is tied,
Uh-huh, oh,
And-
totally,
and I know, you know, Hillary is scrambling.
yes.
She thought, and then she
She's
did
just
that
gonna walk in
commercial.
there. Which
She
one?
she did that commercial. Yeah, you want to know why I'm not 50 points ahead?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's because we actually have a guy that's gonna. Well, he's actually gonna stand up and fight.
Well, right,
And one of
Yeah.
the things that I believe is that Trump will stand up and fight,
yes,
and he's being hammered for it.
sure,
He may be a 4-year president,
that's okay,
but that's fine.
yeah.
So, you know, you Republicans better take a hard look. And I
Yeah.
got a friend of mine who thinks it's honorable to vote for the Libertarian candidate as a rejection vote.
Oh,
But
no.
I mind you to really take a look at Trump and really take a look at Hillary and what she stands for.
Yeah,
So hopefully we open some eyes today a little bit.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of liberal listeners and they just shut down
well,
as
that's
soon as we
okay.
talk about it. But there's a lot of people on the fence
Yes,
and that we educated some people on today. So
yeah,
the show's over again.
darn it.
Yeah, you know, one quick hour. So Peggy, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for letting me come over. It's been
Great to see you again. We'll be back next Sunday.
Yes.
And stay tuned for whatever topic.
Mhm.
We may talk about politics, we may veer off.
Well, that's true.
So,
I mean, next week,
let's see.
well, the Supreme Court opens tomorrow morning, so
Okay.
first Monday in October.
I didn't know
so-
that.
Oh, yes.
So thank you for informing me.
Yeah, so maybe next week we can have a little conversation about the Supreme Court.
Ah.
We touched a little bit today, but,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot more about it.
Lot of controversy there.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yes.
folks, take care of yourself and your families. I'll be back next week with Peggy Busceni.
Thank you. Have a great week.